What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Devin Lundy here with another episode of the Pique Perspectives podcast, episode 5. And this episode, I'm super excited for. I got my boy Chino in here.
What's up, baby?
What's up, brother?
How you doing? Thanks for having me.
For sure. Yeah, no, Chino is the co-owner of the Inklab Art Gallery out in Virginia Beach on Holland Road. And yeah, this episode, we're just gonna dive a little bit deeper into Chino, his journey, and where it all began. So, Chino.
What's up, man?
How you doing?
What do you want to know?
All right, man. So, take us back. Take us back to before Chino was Chino. I just want to learn a little bit more
Before Chino
about
was
it.
Chino, Little Bambino.
Yes, sir.
So I guess this whole journey started, obviously, I was a very young child. I had this dream. I was about 9 years old, maybe 10 years old. I know I was in elementary school for sure. My uncle had came home, Buddha piece. I don't know what it was, but I was like, hey, that's cool. And ever since then, I just had this vision of me doing tattoos, because I didn't know that was a job until, I saw that, and I was like, that's what really started the influence. And every time I'm in school, I'm just drawing, doodling. I didn't really pay attention to school, you know what I mean? I did enough, that's all I could say. I just did enough, but I had that vision in the back of my mind growing up, and I got a little bit older. I was about, 15, I got my first tattoo, and then I saw how it was done. I was like, this seems cool, I could do this. So I actually got my first tattoo, and after that, I got a machine, I got a key. I told my brother, brothers, I told them that I wanted to kind of get into it. They supported me. And then I did my first tattoo, and then boom. How many years ago was this? So this is I was 15 at the time. This was 2010. Where we at? 2025. Jesus, that's a long time.
Yeah, bro.
But don't get me wrong, it was obviously I didn't kind of go in doing it the traditional route where, of course you would kind of wait till you're a little bit older, go into a shop, get an apprenticeship, but that kind of day is kind of died down, you know what I mean? It's 2025, everybody's kind of getting influenced by like social media now, videos, TikToks. So back then I was kind of like, a little frowned upon, but hey, you can't kill my dream, you know what I mean? I was gonna do it regardless. You know what I mean?
So what was your first tattoo that you got?
My first tattoo.
Yeah.
I remember I was in high school. I did my buddy, Curtis. I remember his name, Curtis Davis. What did I do? Lettering. Because that was kind of easy to do. That was basic line work, minimal shading. I mean, you shaded the letterings, but that's about it. That was really it. I started off doing names and maybe small like logos.
Okay.
That was pretty easy. And I kind of suggest that with the newcomers now. I mean, just start off practicing line work, So names are kind of like the perfect thing to start off with.
So when did you realize that you weren't going to go the traditional 9-to-5 route? When were you like?
Well, see, I've had a whole 9-to-5. I did a 9-to-5. Obviously I didn't wake up and become a full-time tattooer.
Yeah.
So being that I started young, of course I had to do, regular jobs. Like I was working at McDonald's. After that I was a construction guy. I did carpentry, concrete and all that. So I did that up until about 2019. So, I'm working that, and I'm dreading it. But throughout the whole time of me working a 9-to-5, I always had tattooing on the side. So that's how I practiced and leveled up. And it took me a long time, you know what I mean? But eventually, I just felt like at a certain point, I was like, man, I'm waking up dreading this job, Like I can't wake up and make somebody else's dream come true, you know what I mean? I gotta wake up and do what I wanna do for the rest of my life, what makes me happy, you know what I mean? So I just woke up one day, I was in a hot sun, July, a summer construction job, and that didn't make anybody hate work, you know what I mean? So I up and down told my boss, I said, man, I don't know when this job's gonna be done, because construction, you know, you're there for until the job's done. I said, man, I can't do this no more. I'm just, you know what I mean? I just never showed back up. And then I made a post on Instagram, and I told people I'm going full-time tattooing, and that was it. That's all she wrote. I just had a really good support fan base, kind of. I would say, like, you know, people that really support you even from your beginning. You know what I mean? So I just had a really decent amount of people supporting me, and that was just enough for me to go ahead and take it full time. You know, and ever since then, it just keeps growing and growing and growing.
No, that's super dope, because not a lot of people, I mean, even just me, like I do real estate now, and it took a while just to be like, just leave that shit behind, because it's like a safety net, you know what I mean? You can always go back and work and make some money.
Right, you can always go back to a 9-to-5. That's always gonna be there, but you only got one shot. Man, I wouldn't say one shot to do what you love, but if you're young and you're in a position, you ain't got no family, no kids or nothing like that, go ahead and chase for it. Chase for anything that you want, you know what I mean? Only a few things that people just, you know, they use excuses, you know, what's something that might happen in life that they have to be at that job. But unfortunately, fortunately, I didn't have, you know, I had a lot of risk, you know what I mean? And with risk comes reward, and I'm just grateful to be here, you know what I mean?
No, hell yeah, bro. It's super inspiring,
Not
bro.
too many people can say that they dreamed about something at 9, 10 years old, and boom, it happened, you know what I mean? So.
And plus, that's cool that you were into art, like, prior to. Not a lot, I mean, I don't know, like, but when I talk to people, it's like, that's not really something that, I mean, some people are like, you know, I've always been into art, I always knew that this is what I want to do, but there's also some people where it's like, bro, I didn't even know, I was just bored and just started fucking tattooing, you know what I mean?
You know, I always tell this to a lot of people. I wasn't a big artsy guy. Like, I drew as great as any teenager would, you know what I mean? But a lot of people really have that natural talent that they're just super artistic. And then you put yourself into tattooing, they become really great artists. But with me, I would say tattooing brought more artistic out of me. See, with me, I drew a little bit of anime, a little cartoons, cars. I was really into the car scene when I was younger. Until I got older, that didn't really stay with me. But, you know, tattooing changed the way I looked at images, changed the way I looked at a lot of things, because you're not gonna get a car tattooed, really. You know what I mean? You're gonna people that come in and get tattooed, they get certain things. So that alone just changed the way I drew and changed the way, you know what I mean, I applied everything, so.
Okay, so you started when you were 15, and you've always been in Virginia Beach area, right? Or-
Well, I'm from Baltimore, so
okay,
I started out there,
Okay.
but I was always back and forth as a kid, going to school. Here sometimes, going up to Baltimore for my summers, and then at some point when I was like 14, it swapped. So I was up there for school, and I was here, and back and forth basically. So I love Baltimore. You know what I mean? I just growing up with my brothers it's not the best scene. You know what I mean? So I just had more opportunities being in Virginia. Schools were better. It's bigger. And it was just, when it came to the whole tattoo industry, it's a lot better over here. So I'm grateful I stayed over here. But yeah, pretty much most of my life I've been out here.
So beginning tattooing, what were you weren't at a shop, obviously, whenever you were that young tattooing. You were just like in the back rooms, or were you?
Man, I done started in the garage. I tattooed in a car, hotel rooms. At the point I was traveling to people. Anywhere I can get the work, you know what I mean? I didn't, you know what I mean, tat parties and stuff like that. A lot of new generation, they don't really know what tat parties are, but I did a lot of places. I went a lot of places. That sucked, honestly.
Yeah.
That sucked.
Yeah.
But eventually I made it into the shop, you know what I mean? I will say, you know, growing up, there wasn't a lot of opportunities. I think tattooing was climbing. I think the biggest jump was maybe around like when Lil Wayne was getting tattooed and Wiz Khalifa. Wiz Khalifa was during my era when I started. So he really put tattooing on the map. I don't know what today is, like today's generation, like obviously we're still in the same generation, but I don't know what today's influence really is. It might be TikTok, I don't know. But Sheesh.
Yeah. No. So what age? How many years were you in before you got into a shop? Before you got into apprentice? And who was that? Pretty much like your influences. Who were some of your people where it was like, yo, I really want to be like this guy, or just or whoever.
Locally or nationally, like globally?
Both.
So locally, there's a handful of people I can give flowers to that I looked up to. I didn't necessarily know them, but I looked up to a lot of local talents. Like even one of our fellow artists, Hippie. You know what I mean? He was somebody that we're close in age. I didn't get into the shop until about what year was it? Had to be like right when I quit construction.
So around 2019 area.
2018, 2019. But I did try to go into a shop a little bit before that, a couple years before that, but it just didn't work with, it didn't work at that time. I didn't have enough clientele. Artistically, I don't think I was there yet. So I really tried to wait, I think maybe like 8-9 years into it, because I started so young, obviously.
Yeah. That's still super young. 8-9 years, that puts you like around like 21, between 21 and like 23 or something like that.
I can't remember. I really do. Yeah, but it very, very early. But it's also that, like I said, when with me, I'm a little bit of a perfectionist in a way. Like I really felt like I didn't belong in the shop yet. So I really, when I was just tattooing at home or whatever, I really tried to wait until I got to a certain level of artistically, like, hey, I can hang, you know what I mean? So, because shops are a little intimidating. Back then, I was like, kind of scared, kind of nervous. Am I good enough? You know what I mean? Whatever. And that's what I actually try to make here. Like, it's all right, you know what I mean? You're here to grow. You're here, we're not trying to intimidate nobody, you know what I mean? So I understand the beginning phase of that tattoo career, so.
Okay, so 2019, so like at what age or like what time, obviously you're tattooing, you're still learning and growing, but like at what time were you like, yo, I want to make that jump from just being an artist to being a business owner to owning my own to
Oh man, as an
people?
artist, you already are a business owner. You know what I mean? From the moment that you pick up that machine, you don't realize that you own your own business. So I didn't realize that I was a business owner at the time, but business kind of came naturally, you know what I mean? I guess working at McDonald's, to be honest. Like, I know people look upon those entry-level jobs, but I kind of moved up, to management and even tried to make a store manager when I was younger. And that alone just taught me business in general. And then, of course, I can't name a few more things, but some other stuff that I've, went through in life taught me a lot about business in general. Yeah. Business isn't really hard. I think people that overthink business in general, they're scared. Oh, I don't know what I'm gonna do, blah, 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 blah. But it's really not, it just comes natural, I guess. I never really had a problem. And plus, of course, going to my last shop, I kind of looked at my old shop owner and stuff like that. So I kind of saw a glimpse of business. And then honestly, for me to start the shop, I really had no choice, you know what I mean? It was either go rent from another guy or another shop and just stay at that. You'll always feel like, to me, I felt like I was just like moving nowhere, you know what I mean? I was always the type to be very ambitious. I'm like, yes, I wanted it. I wanted a shop, I wanted the businesses and stuff like that. And I had a set goal when I was younger. I said, as soon as I picked up that machine, when I was about 15, I said, you know what, by the time I turn 30, I want a shop. And I kind of did it. I didn't do it at 30, I did it at 28. Yeah. So I kind of did it a little early. Of course, I'm 30 now, you know what I mean? So we're here, and goal accomplished.
Goal accomplished.
Goal accomplished.
And it's still far to go on the mountain, brother.
Exactly.
That's the
goal
crazy
accomplished
part.
And many more things to do. But so far right now, this is where we're at. And what it is I think the best thing that I like about business is I'm not just an artist, but I'm a person of opportunity. Like, I know how hard it was to get into a shop, and it's cool to be on the other side of seeing somebody come in and I don't realize that I'm probably starting off their career and their dreams and giving them an opportunity to live their dreams in the shop.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Fire. Is that one of like the most rewarding part? Like what is the most rewarding part of tattooing versus, you know, doing what you do? I mean, obviously, I know you
What's
do
the
both
most
now.
rewarding thing about tattooing? Money.
Yeah. I mean, I know that's why you do it.
Obviously, we're not doing it for free.
Yeah.
But what's the most rewarding thing? Okay, so if I dig deeper, all right, besides financials and living, you know, steady, I would say the coolest thing that I love about tattooing is no matter when I tattooed you, and no matter what goes on in life or how long you live, I personally will live in your life because I am a part of your skin to the day you're in the ground. You know what I mean? I think that is really dope because I've tattooed how many years and how many people, and when I pass, I actually would like everybody I've tattooed, as much people as I can, to come to wherever I'm at.
Yeah, that's like a whole
So
legacy.
my family can see how much people I've touched through the stories, through the art, because a lot of these tattoos are emotional. They're very sentimental to people. It means things. I could tattoo somebody, and that was their therapy for going through a dark time. But no matter what the case is, my tattoo, my art lives in somebody's life until the end.
Yeah, hell yeah.
And that's what I think is dope about it.
Damn. Do you have a story like off top where it's like, dude, like that shit was like either where somebody just made you feel like, yo, Chino, you like really fucking inspire me, or you like that tattoo you did really helped change me, or? I
can't think at the top of my head, but just in general life, people have you know, gave me flowers, I guess you can call it. I really can't remember anything like that. Yeah.
Nah. So, all right, yeah.
Yeah, I can't think
No,
of
I mean,
anything.
you probably tattooed over 1,000 people.
More.
People. Yeah.
If you think about it, we're tattooing. I tattoo every day until I'm burnt out. Once a day, twice a day, sometimes 3 times a day.
Yeah.
That's more than 1,000 a year.
Yeah. No.
Times 15.
No, yeah. No, for real, yeah.
What is that? Where we at now?
Shit, I can't math that high, brother.
Yeah, man. But I think it's now like the fresh out of high school kids now that they see, oh, you know what I mean? They think I'm like some special guy. I'm just like, nah, man. I just in my head, I'm still growing. You know what I mean? Even though we own a shop, that doesn't mean nothing. That's just a building. That's just a lease. It's no different than renting an apartment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm still a student of the game. You know what I mean? There's no matter what I feel, I'm like, oh, I may have done the best piece of art, best tattoo, crazy, nothing I've ever done before. No matter what, I am still humble. I never let my ego try to kill me. Maybe when I was younger, I thought, you know, I was the shit. You know what I mean? But no, I am very humble. I am a student of the game. I will always look up to peers that are doing better than me, take advice, and that's all it is. So that is where I stand with it when it comes to that.
Okay, so where did the name Chino the Inkman came
Chino.
from?
All right, so Chino, people think my name is Chino, all right? It's cool. I made people call me Chino because that's what I want to be called. But Chino came from construction. So when I was in construction, obviously, you know, I was around Mexicans, Hispanics, and stuff like that. And they just calling me Chino. I was like, what are you calling me Chinese for? Chino is Spanish for Chinese. I was like, damn, y'all racist.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but I was cool. They meant no harm. They meant all love and stuff like that. So Chino, Chino was like, I was cool with it. You know what I mean? But at that time, I was trying to figure out how to grow from being just me. How am I gonna get people to know me? And just thinking marketing, maybe this works, maybe this doesn't work. So I was like, all right, my nickname's Chino, just call me Chino. You know what I mean? And then everybody was just having a 3-part name. It was like, you know, blah, 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 the artist, the Tap Man, something the Tap Man or whatever. So I just had to figure out, Chino, what do I wanna do? Chino the Tap Man, Chino the artist, Chino, I don't know. But at some point, I was just scrolling through everybody's Instagram. And I was like, nobody has like Inkman or something like that. And I was like, oh, Chino the Inkman. And it kind of sat, it was different. I chose that name because it was different. I chose that name, that brand for a reason because I thought about it ahead of the game. If I stick my name as Chino the Inkman, eventually, at some point, I want to change that Inkman to God.
Okay.
Chino the Ink God.
Yeah.
You know, when I feel like I deserve that name. Obviously, I haven't changed it. And if I do change it, I got to change a whole bunch of apparel and stuff like that.
That shit
So
gets expensive.
that's why I chose Chino the Inkman. But it worked. It worked. As soon as I changed my name, you know, I grew a lot of clout, fans, supporters, clients, and it works. It works. I mean, I don't think anybody would just know me as, you know.
Yeah.
I think Chino works. There's not too many Chinos around here.
I mean,
you'll remember Chino before anything else.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, I'm pretty sure I just figured out your real name like less than a couple months ago.
Yeah, I
So
ain't even
it's
gonna
like-
say that to everybody now. You gotta be.
Yeah.
One day I might go by my real government, but I don't know. It's boring. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
I like Chino. Chino's different. It's unique.
So how does your family? I mean, I know you said your brothers and everybody was like super supportive about.
My
like,
brothers
your
were.
journey.
My brothers were.
Okay.
I wouldn't say the rest of my family. I don't, because I come from, my heritage is Cambodian and Vietnamese, so it's not natural to chase a dream like tattooing. Barbering, maybe, you know what I mean? But tattooing was, back then, was such a odd job. Like,
taboo
oh, you're gonna
almost.
tattoo, you know, not gonna work. But I don't think that people understood where tattooing was going, and they kind of slept on it, you know what I mean? So, I mean, obviously they support me now. They see me.
Yeah.
But before then, dude, they hated that I had tattoos.
Yeah.
And man, I got so much shit for it. You're not gonna go to, you know, you're not gonna have a job, blah blah blah. Man, but it worked. It's working. I don't know for how long. You know, my mom hates it. She said, but my mom does nails, so she kind of understands how hard it is to be your own kind of, you know what I mean? You're not relying on a check, you're relying on that next person. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So that's one of the hardest things about doing like a self-employment job is like every day you gotta get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're not waiting for Friday for a check. You want money, you want to eat, you gonna
You
work
gotta
every
get
day.
it, yeah.
Get it every day. You know what I mean? But that's how my family came from a rough beginning. So they just wanted me to go into like the military or something like that, which is fine. You know what I mean? But I just
It's more secure for sure.
I can't, I have a hard time listening to people. Like, don't tell me to get up and do some jumping jacks and run a mile. Like, nah, I gotta do what I wanna do. That's the only way I think true happiness is to live life, wake up and do what you wanna do. So that's why I love tattooing.
So when did you realize, like, I mean, obviously, I'm sure that you always knew because obviously you had this dream since you were like a youngin', but like, when were you like, okay, this shit is actually about to start paying off? Like was it in 2019 when you
Yeah.
started taking it serious? or
Right
was
there.
it-
That was when I felt like, as soon as I felt like I could live off of it, I said, I can only go higher from here. I can't, I mean, of course you can lose anything any day, you know what I mean? So, but financially, I felt like I felt like I had enough years under my belt to just go ahead and go chase it. Financially, I guess once I had money to eat, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was a turning point, you know. I remember lights getting cut off. Man, no money to. I was struggling.
Yeah.
But you know, I had it kind of rough when I was fresh out of high school. But you know, you just keep grinding every day. Do what you're supposed to do. Do what you feel like you need to do. Whether it's playing sports, just chasing that regular job, whatever you feel like, chasing that promotion. Just keep doing. Wake up every day and do what you want to do. Do what you got to do until you get there. Pretty much.
So okay, fast forward a little bit. So when did in your brain were
It
you
doesn't
like?
even seem like 2018 to 2025.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it doesn't seem that far apart, but Jesus, I've been through a lot of stuff since then.
Nah, it's fucking insane. It's fucking insane, bro. Like I graduated high school in 2018.
Really?
Yeah. So it's like you know what I mean? It's like a
Jesus.
whole, like it feels like a whole life has been lived since then, but it's like, nah, bro, it's only been, you know.
What is that, 7 years?
Just about, 7, 8
It
years.
doesn't
Yeah.
even seem that far. I remember every year like that.
Yeah, no, it's fucking wild. Like that's why even talking with Dante the other day, where it was like, he was like, yeah, man, I was working at Chick-fil-A in 2018. You know what I mean? And then it's like to see, because all people see is now. They don't really get to see the whole fucking journey. All they see is like, you know, Chino the Inkman. It's like you've always been that guy.
I've never been this
But
guy.
You know what
I feel like
mean?
I'm only a few years deep into it, but I feel. What was your job fresh out of high school?
I was serving.
Serving?
Serving at Village Inn. Yeah, waiting tables.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, and I was there
Wow.
for 5 years. So
That's one job I never did
there.
was like waiting tables or something like that.
Yeah, I really didn't know what the fuck I wanted to do. In high school, I was a lifeguard, and then like that was like
I think
my
that's
first job.
everybody's like they don't know what they want to do. You know what I mean? And even sometimes I'm in this, I'm like, what's next? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't really expect to get, where I wanted to be so fast, so young.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, all right, what do I do for the next 10 years?
Yeah.
What am I gonna? Obviously, at some time I'm gonna get old. You know what I mean? Can I do this forever?
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see.
So this is like a 2-part question. So what do you think you would be doing if you weren't tattooing?
If I didn't make the jump,
Yeah.
honestly, I'd still be in construction, raking concrete,
Dreading
tying
this shit.
steel
Yeah.
with the damn fucking lime green vest on.
Yeah.
Obviously, I would still be there. If I didn't pick up tattooing and I really wanted to quit construction, I don't know. I always tell myself maybe a truck driver,
Yeah.
maybe a post office guy. I don't know. I always think of what I would do, but I'm glad I'm here because it's like, oh man, if I'm right here, I really can't. It's kind of hard to go back to a 9-to-5 or something like that. I mean, don't get me wrong. This is a 12 to 12 to 12 to 12. You know what I mean? This isn't a 9-to-5. This is more than a 9-to-5.
Yeah, no, for sure.
But just waking up, waiting for a paycheck is just what I don't think I like. You know what I mean? Besides, like if I was like maybe what you're doing, real estate. You know what I mean? I think that's a great job. I could see myself doing that too in the future. I don't know if tattoos really make a difference these days.
Nah, as long as you know how to talk.
You're gonna buy a house from a tatted up Asian?
Yeah, I mean, hey, bro, you know how to talk, bro. That's really what it's all about.
But no, I see myself, you know what I mean, getting into that. But yeah, construction would probably be the answer. You know what I mean? Because that's just what I was doing. I was living, I was comfortable, it paid the bills, but it just wasn't enough for me. You know what I mean?
So what skills did you think that you had to learn? I guess unexpected skills that you think that you had to learn, like from tattooing. It's like, damn, I didn't think I would have to use this. Like, damn, I didn't think I would.
Technology.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not that old. I mean, I'm not that young. I'm not that old. I'm kind of right there. 30, 1994. Technology was booming when I was younger. That's when it kind of peaked. But now it's like, it's on a whole different level. So social media is my like sometimes, so when I was in construction, they teach you'll get cursed out if you don't work. You can't be on your phone. You know what I mean? I was that kid working on, trying to book appointments while I was tattooing. While I was in construction. That's a bunch of older guys. They beat you out, you get fired for that.
Yeah.
So I was just, my natural work ethics, sit down and work. Just work. Stop worrying about that phone, you know what I mean? But now it's like you have to be a content creator. You have to be on social media, and you have to have a million conversations weekly if you want that next piece.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. Like, I wouldn't even call it a skill. That's just something that, God, I didn't think I was gonna have to kind of get into. Skill-wise, physically, it's not much. I mean, tattooing is just you're drawing on skin, try not to fuck up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's it. I'm still on this thing, social media joint. That shit, oh man.
Yeah, no, because it goes deeper than just what your art, and because obviously the art speaks for itself, but a lot of people can look at the art and be like, oh shit, that's dope. But like if a fucking artist is doing funny ass videos and because people really don't see who you are, they don't see who Chino is through just art, you know what I mean? Because you're, obviously we're all just super complex. We're not just like what we do as far as work. Like, you have a personality, everybody in here has a personality, and that's why I really like to, not just do the podcast, but even when I'm in here, I like to just do videos. I really like to showcase like the environment that y'all have, because it's not like your typical, even when I go to a tattoo shops, I've only been to one tattoo shop, and it's been like
really just one?
Yeah, I've only been to one. I've been to 365, but like before then I went to it was like an old school one. It's right there on
traditional.
Yeah, it's like a traditional. So you go in there, it's like, all right, what do you want? You know what I mean? But this, I feel like y'all have like a little bit more of like a vibe / culture here.
I feel like this is more of I look at tattoo shops as like an artist. Everybody has a different personality. That shop has a different vibe, structure. It might be ran by different people in a different generation. You know what I mean? So there's traditional shops, and I think there's a lot of new things that can be done in a shop that defines that, comfortability, that vibe. I feel like we're just pretty much independent here, and I don't try to force a lot of things around here. Definitely not traditional. Definitely not traditional. But we're also still building, and me being a first-time owner, I don't know. This might work, this might not. You know what I mean? So it's trial and error when it comes to this. Just like starting off tattooing, this is no different than just an artist. You know what I mean? It's personality. You know what I mean?
So how did you meet Jay?
Jay, I met her at the old shop. I met her. She would tell you. You gonna put her on the next podcast? She would tell you some stories. She was like, "Oh, man, Chino, he was an asshole." Blah 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 blah. I'm like, I look at it a different way. Maybe I was going through something in life, but okay. So what I've noticed is when you go to a shop, you're gonna have a buddy. You're gonna clink up, clash up with somebody. You know what I mean? You're gonna be best friends. You know what I mean? And Jay, I think she was just there, you know what I mean? And maybe I bullied her. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I bullied her a little bit, but I don't know. Jay, she was just that one person where she just absorbed anybody's energy, and I don't know. We just talked a lot. We worked side by side for years, and then when we left the last shop, we split up. We still kept in contact and all, but there was a time where I was like, you know what I mean? I needed somebody, and she was just always there. So she's a good friend. Don't get me wrong, but she probably would say the opposite about me. Like, that's a dick. What's my name in her phone?
I'm weak.
It's Chino the asshole.
I'm weak. So like was she like the first person that you were like, yo, I'm trying to start this business, or like how did the Inklab Art Gallery come together?
So yes. She was probably the only choice I had. Obviously, I know like a handful of artists, but when you get into business with somebody, man, that's important. She was just the only one that I could see always clashing heads and still being friends at the end of the day. So, God damn, it's hot.
Yeah.
It's getting hot.
Yeah, turn on AC.
I'm gonna turn it real quick.
Yeah, turn on AC.
Jesus.
I say that fucking AC started to climb a little bit, brother.
I was like, oh, Jesus. But, okay, so, obviously I knew a lot of people. Jay was pretty much just there.
I mean,
brain fart.
Yeah. No, pretty much just like, when did you know that it was gonna be Jay?
When did I know?
How did the Inklab Art Gallery come together?
Well, the Inklab Art Gallery started when I went and did my own thing. It was just a suite. I called it the Inklab Art Gallery because my vision is that I really wanted a lot of art. Obviously, we're kind of not there right now. We're still, it takes a lot to build a shop and a team. But I just had a vision where I didn't want to take an artist, make money or profit, whatever. I didn't want to do that. I wanted that artist to be able to start their own little business inside of this business. So that's why I wanted this art gallery to everybody have their own art. So that way we can have events to where, hey, let's have an art show, sell paintings, sell art.
That would be fun.
Obviously, we haven't gotten there yet. We're still early. It's only year 2. The first year was really just building it up. And we're still building. We're still building booths. We're still building space. It's a big ass fucking shop. You know what I mean? So it's a lot to do in the shop. But the Inklab Art Gallery started at the suite, and we just kept the name. Obviously, we didn't know what to do, and we only had like 3-4 weeks to figure it out. So we just kept what I had going on, and who knows? We could change the name. That's just a name on a building. Or if we expand and get another location or something like that, I'll give her control over that one. But she has visions too, you know what I mean? But I guess this one is more so my base. But
all right. So how did you get people to? I mean, because I can only imagine how hard it is. I mean, I don't know how hard it is to get people to want to chip into the vision and join the shop. Yeah, like
very hard. I think that's one of the top struggles is finding people, convincing somebody to leave wherever they're at comfortably to come join your vision until they get their vision and move on. That's one of the hardest things I think, because obviously we're all independent owners, and you can only be under somebody for so long. I don't look at anybody underneath me at all. We're all equally on the playing field. We all run at the same pace. We're just on the same team trying to get the same thing. Money, clients, artistic level, and whatever else somebody else dreams of.
Yeah.
It might not even be tattooing. They might do this for a job until they get to the next stop. You know what I mean? That's fine, that's totally fine. I feel like other people might look at that a little differently, because this is something that somebody eats, sleep, and breathes, you know what I mean? So.
Okay, so what do you think do you have a 5-year plan, or do you have like a plan for what, like, goals that you have,
5-year plan.
things that you want to accomplish before?
Honestly, between me and you and the world,
In the world.
I low-key want to get into the whole real estate, man. I've talked about this for years. This tattoo shop feels more, like, this is great, don't get me wrong, but I'm that type of person, I got to keep going and going and going, and at the beginning of the month, I low-key just want to be on the other side of the register, you know what I mean? Are you the one paying rent or receiving rent? You know what I mean? I guess that's being a landlord, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no,
and I just
100%.
think that's stable as I'm getting older. Who knows how my body's gonna be at 40? My body's, you tattooing, your back, oh man, and it didn't help that I used to fight Muay Thai and stuff, so it didn't help my body. And just, you would think sitting down is lazy, but when you're bent over in certain positions for hours, you know what I mean? My neck, my back, oh man. that's rough on your body, so who knows how long this even stays for me, you know what I mean? But 15 to 40, how many years is that?
30, something like that, 25?
That's a lot for staring at some skin. I will forever do tattoos. I think as I get older, though, I do definitely want to gravitate towards the whole real estate. I want to own a block, though. I want to own a shopping center. I think that's the long-term goal, is to earn a living off of properties. I think that's most people.
Yeah,
honestly.
no, that's super passive.
Smart enough.
You don't
I
really
think
have
that's
to
most
put
people.
too much work into it. I mean, obviously you put work into it, but it's like once you get the crib or once you get the spot, it's more or less just you sitting back and collecting.
You want one property to pay for this, and you want another property to pay for this. This property might pay for your vacations. This property might pay for your car note.
Yeah,
so that's how you got to look at it. Once you understand how to play Monopoly in the real world, I think that's when you'll be all right. You know what I mean? You'll get part of that 10% club. Or is it 1%ers?
Yeah.
Is it the 1% club?
Yeah, it is the 1% club, but even then it's like
10% might be a little more.
I mean, but I mean, once you realize how many people aren't doing what, not just you doing it, but like just people who aren't, there's a lot more people as sheep, and there's a lot more people doing that, and there's nothing wrong with doing that shit, obviously, but it's like, there's a huge crowd. I mean, even all of my friends, a lot of my friends, they're just doing what they're told, they're just doing what seems right, you know what I mean? And it takes a lot to just be like, wait, why are y'all all going that way when you can go this way? It might take a little, but like, I mean, I look at it like my worst case scenario is I have to go get a job. My best case scenario is this shit really starts to take off.
You could take a whole 6 months off.
It takes a whole, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, if worse comes to worse, all right, I'll go get a job. I feel like I can go get hired anywhere.
I think social media and the attention people get make people think that, oh, if you get a job, you're failing. You know what I mean? And this is a job. This is a job. This is a lifestyle. I don't even call it a job. I wake up and I do what I love to do, and you'll never have to work a day in your life. But somebody else might be like, oh, you work in a tattoo shop. You know what I mean? But no, I feel like as long as you wake up, you getting money, you taking care of your loved ones, your family, you paying your bills, roof over your head, you got a car to drive. And if you don't got a car to drive, you can walk, bike.
Yeah, bro.
I think people sleep on that. They try to clown you, but if that's the case, those are the people that need to be surrounded by you. Those are the people that need to be following you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But that's just my thought about that. As long as you got some money you can eat, feed your family, that's all that matters.
Yeah, life isn't as complicated as people make it seem. You know what I mean? It's like, bro, like, so I was at the beach one time. This is a quick story. I was at the beach one time. My homie was like, like we were just looking at a crab, and he was like, "Damn, bro, life would suck if you were a crab."
That's my favorite food.
And then I was just like, I mean, life really don't suck if you're a crab. The crab probably ain't stressing about the politics. It probably ain't stressing. It's just trying to
He
make it
is
to the
living
next day
until he
and
is
fucking-
steamed
Yep,
or
nah,
boiled
exactly.
if you're from the South.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you're from Baltimore, so you know.
You gotta
about the
take
crab
that T
boils.
off. It's Baltimore.
Oh, the Baltimore.
Baltimore.
Right, Baltimore.
Heavy on goop.
Hell yeah.
On
hell
heavy goop. You ain't
So-
seen that video, have you?
No.
Oh man.
I mean, I just know the one dude
Crickets.
who like talks about the like, or he like says all that weird shit, and it like I'm just listening to him. I'm
Nah,
like,
he was
I don't
on
know what-
Drewski's show. Could have
Oh,
been
yeah,
Records
the
or whatever. This is
auditions,
one
yeah,
guy. He
yeah.
did an episode in Baltimore and Lamar Jackson, the GOAT. Lamar, this is our year.
Yes,
He was
sir.
on the show, and it's really funny. It's big Yipple Snip or whatever his name is. Oh, you gotta watch that. I'm gonna sing that video.
Yeah.
That video is funny.
Damn.
Because the Baltimore accent is already funny, and he just takes it to another level.
Yeah, over exaggerates.
Yeah, no, you got to see it. You're gonna understand what I'm saying when I show you.
Yeah, no, I will. I'll reference this clip. And I'll be like, bro, this is what he was talking
You
about.
got to
Yeah,
see
yeah.
it, man.
Yeah. All right. So, I mean, all right. So now here you are. You told me your goals. I mean, shit. What can people expect from the Inklab Art Gallery? What can people expect from you in the next coming? Do you have any upcoming events? What are you planning?
It's not even on the drawing board right now, but I really want to do the Summer Bash again. That was a success last year. I feel like I just tongue-tied. That was a success last year, and I think it's coming up. July's coming up. We always kind of do it in the summer. Basically, like a big party. You know what I mean? Tattoos, of course, every day. I think I just want to one-up it this time. I don't know. I was trying to get a whole like carnival event type thing, but I don't know if that's gonna happen.
A dunk tank would be.
I
lit.
would love to, but with the property manager,
Yeah,
I gotta
yeah,
make
yeah,
sure I gotta
yeah.
get all that approved. But definitely, we gotta do something. Gotta do another flash event. Maybe switch it up a little bit, not flashes, but hand size, palm size tattoos, something for the low, for the love. Maybe that can be clashed in with a back to school thing. Always give back. Always got to give back to the community, whether it's kids, homeless, or whatever at that time. But I think we're definitely going to expect the next event to be the Summer Bash Flash. We have, how many heads we have? Like 11, 12, 13 artists here?
Yeah.
So we have plenty of artists, so expect a lot of tattoos. I'm always on the grill, big boy got to get,
sir,
I'm
yes,
Chef
sir.
Cheen, you know what I mean?
Chef
So
Cheen.
definitely I'm gonna hop on that grill, have some games, and maybe some giveaways, I mean? That's pretty much all I can think of. Unless we get like a little dunk tank, you know what I mean? Throw
Yeah.
Jay in there, you know what I mean?
Hell yeah.
Oh, Tani.
Hell yeah. If you could give yourself any type of, if you can give the younger Chino, 15-year-old Chino, or even 9, 10-year-old Chino, what advice would you give him without foreshadowing too much of what's to come?
Talking to myself back in the day, should have went to college.
Say, go to school, fuck that art
Go to
shit,
school,
nigga.
this is stressful. No, if I could talk to myself, I would probably have been a better kid. You know what I mean? I was a troubled kid. I would accept. I admit that. I didn't have the best coming up. I lost my opportunities fighting, kickboxing, Muay Thai, just because being troubled in the streets. You know what I mean? Hanging out with the wrong crowd. If I could go back, I would change a few things. Don't get me wrong, I would probably still be a tattooer, but I would also be, maybe fighting. Because
Yeah,
I was great at it, undefeated,
Oh,
had
shit.
5 championships, ranked number 1 in the state, and
I did not fucking know that.
yeah.
not fucking know
Before tattooing, I was a karate kid, black belt by 10. My first kickboxing fight was at 11. Every fight that I had was a championship fight. I had the hardest fights. And that's why I'm always putting on boxing, UFC or something like that, because it's something that I think that would have been the alternate route if I wasn't tattooing. But I tattooed so young, I just ran away from what was going on. So fighting was really something that I love to do. But if I could tell myself, hey, don't steal from that store.
Yeah.
Don't beat up these kids. My life probably would have run a different direction, but
Yeah.
it is what it is. I'm not, our struggles in life take us to a path that we've we deserve. You know, God gives you what you deserve, what you need, not what you want. You know what I mean? So I may have wanted to be a fighter, but that's not what I needed to be.
Yeah.
And I'm here for a reason, and whatever the next future steps is, you know, that's where it's gonna, you know, what it would have been.
Yeah. Story's already written, bro. We just we just living this
Yeah.
shit. You know what I mean?
Story is written. I wish I could just man, once I fast forward to that real estate life, that's what I really want.
Yeah, no.
Because this is really real estate. You know what I mean? And once you understand how this business works, just keep applying that to every other
wash,
business.
rinse, repeat,
you know
bro.
what I mean?
I mean, it's not. It's like everything.
I'm a pretty
seems
good
like
cook.
it's
I could
so-
do a restaurant. You know?
Yeah.
That's how I got so much weight on me, man. I gotta stop eating.
If you could go anywhere you want to go at this very
Vegas.
moment, Vegas. Oh yeah, you be gambling and shit. Yeah.
I love Vegas. I love a city that just does not sleep. I'm a night guy. I don't sleep at night. That's probably why I'm always late in the morning for my appointments. If I could go anywhere in the world, besides Vegas though, realistically, I do want to go overseas. I do want to check out like Korea or Japan or something like that. I heard their 7-Elevens are pretty dope.
Yeah.
I watch a lot of videos on that.
It's the origination.
But if I could go, was that your question? Where I can go anywhere?
Yeah.
I love Vegas. Somewhere that I haven't been though, I do want to go out to the West Coast. West Coast. There's a lot of Cambodian culture out there. The older I get, the more I want to kind of see that people. Not that people, but that my type of Cambodians. Because there's not much over here. When my grandparents came, they came over here. There's not too many Cambodians. All the Cambodians went to the West Coast, Cali, Washington, even like Dallas. Even there's a lot of Cambodians out there.
Yeah.
But my family's so spread out. I don't really see a lot of my heritage no more. So I would love to kind of go out to Cali and see what that's about. I hear it's expensive, but Vegas is the closest I've been, and I love Vegas. So I'm sure if I go a little bit more, I might still love it. You know what I mean?
Is that where you'd want to live, or where would you want to live? Like where
do I want to live?
Where are you trying to settle down at, Mr. Chino?
Man, I don't know. Wherever the lady wants to go, wherever the wifey wants to go. You know what I mean?
Shout out.
Yeah, wherever she goes, I gotta go. You know what I mean? But I mean that's what they call vacations for a reason.
Yeah.
But I mean Virginia's cool. I've had a lot of friends, got a lot of clientele. If I move somewhere, I got to start over. That's the only thing. I don't know if I want to do that. I really got to go back to a 9-to-5.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I might be in here forever. I don't know.
All right. So I got a couple more questions. So
yeah. Go ahead.
What is just a piece of advice for maybe a person who wants to get started tattooing and doesn't really know how to make that step, or like if they need some advice, or like what is some advice for them?
Honestly, there's a couple answers. I can say the right answer. I could say the traditional answer. I could say the most realistic answer.
Yeah.
If you really want to go into tattooing, what you want to do is you want to go ahead and surround yourself by artists. Talk to other artists. Talk to other traditional artists. Get tattooed by your artists. Ask them questions. You know what I mean? See how they got into that shop, and no matter what where you go, you want to follow your fan. So if you look up to this specific artist, maybe just follow their path. You know what I mean? I wouldn't recommend my path. That's kind of illegal. You know what I mean? But realistically, you can pick up the machine and just tattoo. Realistically, I'm not gonna spread that. But that's what everybody's doing right now. But pretty much, get a tattoo from somebody that you love. Ask them questions, how they're gonna get in. It could be me. It could be somebody else in the shop. It could be somebody, your local tattoo shop, and just see how they got into it. And you want to go ahead and get you an apprenticeship. I mean, you definitely want to draw. You gotta draw. So if you don't want to draw, if you can't draw, you might not want to pick it up. You know what I mean? Maybe pick up some painting or something like that. But if you're really into art and you want to tattoo, just go ahead and get you an apprenticeship. Ask for an apprenticeship. See how that specific shop does it. And then just go from there, you know what I mean? Definitely don't do what I did. Don't do what I did.
Don't go beating up kids and shit.
Don't go beating up kids. Don't go tattooing in some garages.
Yeah.
If you want to. I'm not telling you to.
All right. So I just keep thinking of questions. All right.
You're
so
good.
what is your current style, and what style do you want to dive deeper into as you continue
I'm
on?
pretty, in my opinion, I'm pretty well-rounded. Anybody that comes in, I'm pretty much adjusting to their style that they want. I like black and gray. I'm gravitating towards black and gray. Realism, hyperrealism, super realism. I kind of want to go towards that side. But honestly, there's Virginia Beach, 757, the whole area is so diverse because of the military and stuff like that. You're gonna get all styles thrown at you. And it's your decision whether you say no or yes. So I like to do a lot of black and gray. I get a lot of tribal. That's a love-hate relationship. But I definitely want to improve on that because tribal, it's a lot deeper. It's not just picking up the machine, seeing what you see on that picture and tattooing it. No, you really have to understand the history of it. You need to understand the patterns and the meaning of it. And there's a lot of gatekeepers for that style. And I kind of want to just pay more respect to it and kind of just study it more a little bit. But that's a tough, just getting it so black and stuff like that. It's very tough, very long, very tough. And it's
not for the weak.
It's not for the weak. Anybody that does tribal, even if it could have been like that classic 80s, 90s tribal, just packing in all that black is so long. And I'm like, ooh. But black and gray is my favorite. I'll dabble with some color. I can't even tell you that's not like my golden style, but in tattooing you got to play with some color. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's like I said, I'm still a student of the game, so I will always try to improve in everything I do.
Have you had a tattoo, like just a weird or wild request where you're like, I'm not fucking doing that?
All right, censorship. This was when I was younger. Some guy asked me if I would tattoo his shit. I was like, nope. There's one area I will not touch. Nope. And I'm even hesitant about like the lower stomach because your elbow is sitting right in that area. And I'm like, get a pillow or something like that. But that is just a weird, wild, that's a no-no. I can't do it.
What that man what, bro? You want an arrow?
I didn't even get to that. I said, nah, man. He was like, yo, man, you tattooed this? I was like, nah, man. Respectfully, I ain't touching that. No, hell no. Hell no. There's women that would do it, but why you ask me? No, man. Get out of here.
Man has some ulterior motives,
nah, man. I'm not going to, nah, man.
Damn, bro. Well, shit, man. I mean, I think that's pretty much it. You've covered pretty much everything. I appreciate you taking your time to sit here and just chat with me, bro. It's
all
been
love.
cool.
It's all love. It's all love. Thanks for having me. This was fun.
Sure.
This is my first one ever doing it, so I mean, I hope I did well.
Yeah,
Did you get the right angles?
We'll watch it back and see. But,
and then don't worry, we're gonna start a platform here at the Inklab Art Gallery. And then, you know what I mean, you'll be on mine, you know what I mean? We'll keep that going, you know what I mean?
For sure, man, because this is what it's all about. It's putting the art to a name, it's putting a piece to the name, it's putting the business to the name, you know what I mean?
I like the whole podcast idea. Obviously, everybody kind of is on the podcast thing. I like it because what this means to me is now every artist has a voice. There's only so much you can post online.
Yeah.
But when you actually have a conversation and you really get to know that artist looking in, it's like, oh, this guy looks like a dick. But he's really fucking chill. You know what I mean? And just somebody posting tattoos, you don't really know who's behind that needle. And I think this gives every artist a platform and a chance to show who they are. And I think that's better for them promoting themselves, getting more potential clientele, and then just bringing more people to the shop. And a lot of people really are stuck in their old shops or wherever they're used to going. They don't realize that we're here, we're new. So this kind of helps out and gives people that hey, let's come on in. We're friendly, you know. We don't bite, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We'll hurt you and stab you to death, but we don't bite.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Yeah.
All right, so where can people find you, bro? How can people book with Chino? How can people book with the Inklab Art Gallery?
You can always come in. You Google our name. Our Instagram is the Inklab Art Gallery. My name is Chino the Inkman. You can message me. You can just pull up. I have my business cards. We're right here at 3972 Holland Road, Suite 125. Can I remember all this? Virginia Beach, Virginia, 23452. Or just Google the Inklab Art Gallery. That's pretty much quick.
There we go. There
Come through. We got plenty of artists, plenty of styles, female, male, everybody, you're welcome. Make you feel comfortable. 3,000 square feet. It's a lot of tattoo room.
we go. Yes, sir. This is the place to be if you want to get a tattoo, man. Inklab Art Gallery with my boy Chino. It's been a pleasure. Another episode of the Pique Perspectives podcast, and we're out.
Chee!
Bang.